Hey guys, we're starting a new quilt, or I should say table runner. If you want to do a quilt out of this, you can. I'm doing a table runner of this, but this is called my Star Squares block. It's a really basic block. You'll see it all over the internet. Just the basic, like I call it the modern star basically, but I've added these squares to the inside, and over the coming weeks I'm going to show you some variations on this, and I'm going to turn it into a table runner for Christmas. So you can see I'm doing mine red and green. It's kind of fun, and you can of course do yours whatever colors you want, but I think you're going to love the way this turns out. I'm going to do these are 12-inch blocks, 12-inch blocks for a really long table runner for my table. So I'm excited for you to join me in this. All right, let's get started here. So this is the Star Squares quilt, and what you need to get started, if you have the PDF, you don't have to worry about these numbers because you'll have it in the PDF, so it's super simple. But your A and your B pieces are 4 red 4.5-inch squares and 4 white 4.5-inch squares. And your C piece is 4 3.5-inch squares, and then your D piece is 3.5-inch, 2 of them, and your E piece is 2 3.5-inch squares. So it's pretty straightforward, and actually doesn't take that long to cut. So what you're going to start out by doing is making a pencil line, and I'm going to do it through my white in the hopes that you can see it. But you're just going to do a pencil line right through the diagonal of your I think it's your B piece if you've got the PDF, which by the way is totally free. All you have to do is sign up for my Fabric VIP. I send PDFs of whatever we're making on Thursdays out to everybody. It's just a totally free thing I do just because I want you guys to be able to sew with me. So, and it just makes it easier for you to have a PDF with all the stuff in it. So, and that can be found at karinagardner.com. You can just sign up for the Fabric VIP. Okay, so all those diagonals are made. Just move this out of the way. We are going to need this little cutting board I've got here, and you're going to sandwich together right sides of your A and B pieces, your 4.5-inch squares, and you are going to sew on either side, a 1/4-inch seam allowance on either side of that pencil. Okay, so I'm going to do that with all of these really quick. Okay, so I've got all of these sewn up on either side, and I'm just going to cut these apart, and then you're going to use your rotary blade and just cut in between. Let me just move these out of the way, you guys. So I'm just going to cut down the middle. Just like that. And then you are going to fold these over and press them, and then I always of course press to the colored side so my white is clean, and I'm going to do that with all of them. And then you're going to trim these down to 3.5 inches. So I'm going to repeat that with all of the rest of this. Okay, I just finished trimming them all down, and that makes it really clean. I've given you quite a bit extra on these just because I know I screw up sometimes with the sewing, and so I like to trim them down and get them really perfect. Okay, so the next part is pretty simple. Before we move on to these, what we're going to do is our centerpieces, and I'm doing green because I'm doing Christmas blocks here, and I'm just setting it up like this. Super easy, right? So you're just going to sew rows, and then you're going to sew your square together. So I'm going to sew together these rows quick. And then I'm going to press it. It doesn't matter which way you press this one because you don't really have to worry necessarily about the seams. I guess you could worry about the seams right here with this. Okay, so once you have your center, you can go ahead and lay this out. Okay, so you can see it all laid out. So what I like to do is I like to start with these pieces right here. In this case though, here we go. You're creating rows, right? So you could just sew all of these together, sew these together and then sew this together, and then you're adding the last two parts. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'm gonna first start by sewing these star points together in the center, just like that. And then now it should be super simple to finish out the middle section. Okay, saw that. And I'm gonna press those probably, I better decide, right? I'm gonna press them both this way, and that way I'll press these the opposite way. That just helps in general. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and sew these rows, press this down. Okay, so I have all of this pressed out and I sewed the rows. And so now I'm just going to fold this over, and hopefully all of your seams will be nested. Mine are, because I've got everything here going this way and everything on this top one is going the other way. If you want to make sure everything lines up, you can pin it. That's the other thing you can do. I'm going to hold it in place where I know those seams need to be. And you may need to trim it up. You might need to trim up your edges before you put it into your quilt or table runner. But other than that, it is ready to roll. I'm gonna make 2 of these because I'm doing a table runner, and I'm gonna show you guys how to put it together in a couple of weeks once we do all the blocks for this. But I'm doing all red and green blocks because I'm making a Christmas table runner. Isn't that so cute? Okay, if you are not on my Fabric VIP, you should join. It's totally free. You can sign up at karinagardner.com, click on exclusive VIP. I send out free PDFs every single Thursday, and that's what's going on. I hope you have fun making this, and I will see you guys soon.